dramatically. This is over the last 5 years. N is 740 companies, again, mostly SaaS companies. And over the last 5 years, this is the real sales and marketing data from those companies. Customer acquisition costs are up 50%, more than 50%. And that's for both B2B and B2C. The gray line is the B2C, the green line is the B2B. It's the same story. And I think there are a lot of reasons why. I think everybody's seen Scott Brinker's slides. I mean, the amount of competition that's out there is increasing in the software space at a really rapid pace. The number of channels that we have to go to market has sort of been leveling off a little bit. I think Amazon's going to be really interesting. But I looked it up. Facebook put out their advertising platform 11 years ago. That was a long time ago. And yeah, we've had Snapchat, we've had other things, but things have been leveling off. So why does a product first go-to-market strategy matter? Again, from Price Intelligently, so 650 companies. Green is companies that don't have a free product to offer, and the gray is companies that have a freemium product. On the left-hand side, you've got outbound cold calling, and typical close rates, in my experience and from looking at a lot of other people's data, is about 0.1%. So if you're really good and you strap somebody into a chair and they are on an auto dialer, get them to call 1,000 people, they should close one of them. And it works. You've got to be pretty good at it for it to work, but it does work. And then, going back to the panel last night where they're talking about, hey, I hate it when I get a call from a salesperson that doesn't know, anything about my business. These are the people that are calling them. The amount of time that they have to understand the business is literally, when they're plugged into an auto dialer, it's from the time that the phone hangs up, however many rings, until the business owner picks up, is the amount of time that they have to do research on the business. That's what it is. So then inbound warm calling close rates are typically about 1%. And that's what I would call a marketing qualified lead. And so that's pretty good. 10x improvement. If you call 100 businesses, you're going to close one of them. And this would be all the typical sort of content marketing and everything that you guys are all familiar with. Product qualified lead close rates go up another order of magnitude, and that's where you get a PQL. And a PQL is going to close at a 10% rate or higher. I've seen as high as 50%. But those are the orders of magnitude. What's really happening behind the scenes is, I think, changing consumer behavior. We all have these smartphones. We're all getting used to instant access to information, instant access to try things. And I don't want to talk to somebody sometimes to try a product, to get access to it, and it bugs me. And we saw that in the data that was presented last night, especially on the younger end. People are more and more wanting to be able to access this stuff and try it out without talking to anybody. I think what they have here is they've created an index of product-first go-to-market companies. And that's on the left-hand side of the slide. And the bottom line is that they perform better. So on the left-hand side, you've got names you guys are all familiar with: Wix, HubSpot, Zendesk, LogMe, and Twilio. They just crushed their earnings yesterday. And all of these companies are employing product-first go-to-market strategies. When you look at, and sorry, the numbers came out a little bit small here, but so if you compare the product-led growth companies to the non-product-led growth, which are all SaaS companies, on the revenue growth side, they're growing faster, 35% versus 25% for the broader SaaS index. Gross margins are better, 74% for the product-led growth companies versus 69%. Rule of 40, for those of you guys who follow that, the EBITDA plus revenue growth should equal 40. They do better, 43% versus 37%. And then the enterprise value, 10x revenue versus 7.7x revenue. So I think you're going to start to see this more and more. Like, generally, I think people have been just thinking of SaaS companies as one big bucket. I think you're going to start to see investors realize that there's some really strong differences between the companies. This is one of those slices. So what defines a PQL with SMBs? So this is how my team thinks about it. First, you've got to obviously have firmographic fit. I need to have the right type of business. This is the foundation for cold calling. I'm going to give you a list of leads. They're in the right vertical. They're about the right size. And then you've got marketing behavior. So this is, again, I've spent a lot of my career working on developing marketing behavior. So I got you to, you're a business that's generally speaking in the right vertical and about the right size. And I got you to download something that's vaguely related to my product, therefore I know you have some need. So I've got a marketing qualified lead at that point, and for a product qualified lead, you're developing the product behavior. So the product usage indicates that my product is a good fit for how you want to solve the problem. So again, Scott Brinker's slide, there are thousands and thousands of options out there just in the marketing space alone. And there are a lot of different ways that consumers and business owners might want to solve any given problem. My solution may or may not be the way that they want to do it. So if I can get them using a free version of my product and I can get all the people that don't like it to drop off and then just look at the group that's staying and using it, now I know I've got a product qualified lead. So just visualizing what the funnel looks like. This is traditional MQL funnel. There are different versions, but on the left-hand side you've got the product awareness, and then on the x-axis you've got time. And so if I'm following a content strategy, I've got to develop traffic. Then I might get them to download some content, and from there I'll start, doing my email nurturing. And in that process, the marketing team is trying to develop some product awareness. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. And then the product awareness is really handled by the sales interaction. So you have sales do a really big, heavy lift and say, hey, you downloaded this thing, now I'm going to talk to you about my product, and then they're the ones that make that happen. And, sorry, that should say PQL funnel. For the PQL funnel, the big difference is that you're inserting a free product in the middle of that path. And so marketing now has a bigger job. They've got to get you all the way up to here, working with the product team, but then sales has a smaller job. And so that fundamentally lets them be more efficient. Just developing a free product doesn't mean that this is going to work. There are good ways and bad ways to do this. This is stuff that I've seen work really well. So first is free forever products instead of a free trial. Generally speaking, if you can do a free forever product instead of a free trial, I would encourage you to do it. And the reason why is because a free trial is way further down in the funnel. If somebody's actually willing to try your product, there are a bunch of steps that have taken place to get them to that point. Whereas a free product, it's just a much lower barrier to entry. Simple freemium product, value proposition that marketing can explain. If you have really complex free software, you might get sales to get people to leverage that software, but that's not what we're going here for. We want marketing to be able to drive them all the way to that point. Ability of the customer to completely self-provision the free product. Another thing that's not explicitly called out here, but I think is really important, is that there be a very low marginal cost associated with the free product, because we're trying to develop a large funnel. Part of that is they've got to be able to self-provision. I really think that's critical. If they have to interact with your customer success team in order to do this, I think it's much less good. I think another thing that a lot of people miss is that you're converting a subset of your MQLs. So they pretty much by definition have to have been an MQL before they can become a PQL, which means you need generally a really large funnel for this to work. Viral adoption of the free product, we would all love viral adoption. This is another reason why freemium versus free trial is a big deal. Nobody is going to virally spread a free trial. Tight connection between the free product and the paid product. So this is also critical. You can't just have your product team go out and develop a free product that has no relationship whatsoever to the product that you're actually selling. I see a lot of companies doing this as well. That's nice. Those are basically still MQLs. So if you've got somebody that's using your free product that's way over here, and your paid product is over here, you've got MQLs. It's loosely related, but there's no really easy sales call that's going to be made to say, all right, I want you to convert and upgrade from over here to here. A tight integration between the product and your CRM. Again, last night we heard a lot about how everybody wants the salespeople to be really, really on top of their game and know exactly what all the information about the business, everything. They want them to be well equipped for that call. So if the product doesn't feed into your CRM and give your sales team all of the information about what has been happening inside the free product, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So building a great free product is usually harder than converting free users into paid users. And I think I see most people do this the opposite way. And I think what's going on is basically everybody spends most of their time thinking about their paid product. And so when the idea of developing a free product comes about, the thought process sort of starts with, okay, well, my paid product looks like this. Now, what am I going to remove to make my free version of that? And in doing that, you're basically fundamentally thinking about conversion triggers and things like that, when you should be doing it completely the opposite way. You should be thinking about what is going to create an amazing user experience in this free product and solve for that first. So when should sales contact a PQL? This is another thing. This is another thing that's really hard. So because they were all MQLs at some point in the funnel, sales can get really, really antsy, and they tend to kind of pound me and say, hey, I've got all these leads and you're not letting me call them. What the heck? And so you've got to really keep sales at bay and wait until the PQL actually develops to make this work as efficiently as it can. So there's usually 3 key ways to do that. One is going to be a hand raise. So there are going to be a bunch of different options in the software that different triggers where you can stand up and say, hey, I'm ready for a sales call, or I want to talk to somebody about this, I'm confused, whatever it is. The second classic one would be a usage limit that's reached. Dropbox, again, just being one of the most straightforward examples that's out there. You get X amount of space, and once you get past that, you need to pay us. Really basic. The third would be a feature limit that gets encountered. So I'm using XYZ features, and I really need ABC now, and those are connected to XYZ. But to get those, I'm going to have to pay more. They bump into that. That's a great time to have sales talk.